All right, good Saturday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Trevor Burchett. Just about 9:30, and here the storms come. They are crossing the river into the metro right now, and we have severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued. Let's get straight to the wall, and we'll get to it. Severe thunderstorm warnings, mainly for Shelby County and areas to the north. That's where we're finding the highest wind gusts at this point. But even where the storms are not severe, we're finding very heavy rain and some gusty wind back to the west. That's going to be from Wynn down to Forest City and through eastern Arkansas. Definitely, though, the highest wind gust and the strongest part of this storm right now is up in northeastern Arkansas, Mississippi County, and that's what's about to cross the river into western Tennessee. Now, the National Weather Service, I'll let you know, has also been watching for the potential of some rotation in here. Tornadoes, not our biggest concern today. I think most of us are just going to see some heavy rain and some high wind gusts. But there have been a couple of moments that we've been watching this batch of storms that it seems like maybe there could be some rotation up in the clouds. Nothing that's been able to make it down to the surface, but definitely something we will watch here. We haven't had any tornado warnings at this point. But we will keep an eye on that. And of course, if that happens, we'll jump on TV and continue our coverage there. For now, we're just on ABC 24 Plus and on Facebook. But we have a slew of severe thunderstorm warnings here from Mississippi County, Arkansas, down into Crittenden County. A new one just got issued for northern Shelby County and for Tipton County. So I'll kind of just start off at the top of this line and work my way down. Now, I will tell you, out ahead of this, we kind of have two lines that are working in here. We have some storms that have developed ahead of the main line. So West Memphis already seeing a little rain, Shelby Forest already seeing a little rain, Tipton County, Lauderdale County, it's already raining there. But that's really not the main line that we're watching. What we're watching is back behind this, what's coming through Blytheville, Osceola, just came through Lepanto, and is coming through Cross County and Wynn. That's the heaviest and the strongest part of the storm. So even if you do see a little rain, like if you're in Ripley right now, you're seeing some rain, Henning seeing rain, and Ripley, Tennessee up in Lauderdale County to Dyersburg, all seeing rain. But it's going to be that second line that's probably going to have the highest wind gusts. So I just want to start off at the top here with our severe thunderstorm warnings. We have 3 of them at this point that I just kind of want to work my way down here. We'll talk about each warning kind of in order. First one, farthest north, this is a severe thunderstorm warning for Dunklin, Mississippi County, and Pemiscot County, mainly for the Boot Heel. It does include Blytheville. And this is one of the ones, if you'll notice, they put that tornado possible message on there. So this is not a tornado warning, but that's just the National Weather Service's way of saying, hey, this is looking kind of funky. We're going to watch it for the next little bit. We might have to put a tornado warning on it. So we don't have that concern at this moment, but when they put that little message on there, it is an indication that it's something we'll have to watch. So that was for the northern part of that storm, what's coming through the Missouri Boot Heel right now, eventually toward Dyersburg and Lauderdale County. We have another severe thunderstorm warning south of that. This one also has that tornado possible message on it, but for now it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, and that's going to go from Mississippi County, and this is more for the central portion of Mississippi County, Big Lake and Osceola. And that goes until 9:45. And then we have another severe thunderstorm warning. This one just issued a moment ago. And this is for a zone that's going to be coming into southern Mississippi County, eventually into Tipton County, and in Shelby County as well. And this one is also a severe thunderstorm warning. This one is going to be for Crittenden, again, Mississippi, Shelby, and Tipton, including Atoka and Millington. That one until 10 a.m. So again, main concern with these is going to be the high wind gusts as this line comes through. A lot of us are going to see the heavy rain. We're going to see the thunder and lightning. We're going to see the, heavy rain, gusty wind up to 40 or 50 miles an hour. But we're watching really carefully. There's a couple of areas in here might be trying to spin up a weak little tornado. Again, not a huge concern today, but when you get a line of storms like this coming into the environment that we have, those like to spin up those tiny little quick tornadoes. They can still do damage for sure, but we're not talking about those massive big tornadoes that we see, like we saw last April. That would not be the concern today, but again, even a small tornado is strong enough to do damage. Nothing of that concern at this moment. We don't have any tornado warnings in effect, but some areas of this line are looking just a little bit funky. Not seeing any warnings right now on this section of the line from Forest City and St. Francis County back to the west. Notice how it's angled a little differently, though. So this area of the line is more north and south. Once you get back here, it starts to slant a little bit. That's when we see more of a flooding concern. When that line is tilted a little bit, it means you're going to see more of the heavy rain last longer. And that's when we could see 2 to 3 inches of rain over a short period, and that could also result in some flooding. So that's what we're going to watch for Memphis, DeSoto County, especially those metro areas where we get that heavy rain that comes in. Once that portion of the storm starts to roll in, we're going to have a real potential of some flooding on the roadways. Still looking like about 10:30, maybe 11 a.m. into Memphis Metro. Worst of it done by 2 o'clock. But then we're still going to see some off and on rain showers after that. I think this entire line will be through the Mid-South by 2 p.m. But again, that's when we're still going to be seeing some light off and on rain. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect for all of the Mid-South, again, until 2 o'clock. So that line is going to continue to march through. It'll be in North Mississippi this afternoon and then eventually clearing out by 2 or 3. After that, the risk of heavy storms will end, but we're still going to be seeing that potential of at least some light off and on showers for the rest of the day. We do have that weather impact alert now through 4 o'clock, let's say. Could be a little earlier than that if this line speeds up. Biggest concern, heavy rain, high wind gusts. But again, that tornado potential, it's low, but we can't rule one out. It's something we're going to watch very carefully for the next little bit. And now's a good time if it's not raining in your neighborhood yet, if you're not hearing the thunder yet, secure anything loose outside that could blow around. We've already gotten reports from northeast Arkansas of power poles being knocked around, trees being knocked around a little bit. So any of that patio furniture, plants you have outside, probably want to secure that. And then also probably just a good day to make some indoor plans, because even once the heaviest rain ends, we're going to be dealing with kind of some more light off and on rain for the rest of the day. Here's the latest hour-by-hour radar. I think it's got a good handle on where the storms are now, so I think this will give us a good idea of kind of that time of arrival as we go forward. There's 10 a.m. kind of lining up just east of the river, and then I think the heaviest part of that storm is going to be in Memphis by 11 a.m. Now, we're going to see some rain before that. We will see rain showers in Memphis ahead of time, right? Like we're already seeing some rain right now, but this is when the heaviest storm is going to come in by 10:45 or 11 o'clock. Covington about the same time, Crockett County, Alamo, Brownsville, Tunica, DeSoto County, all looking at about 11 a.m. for the heaviest batch of thunderstorms. 1 o'clock in Bolivar, Holly Springs, Clarksdale, North Mississippi. That's where we're going to start to see the storms roll through there. And then into Selmer, Corinth, probably a little bit closer to 2 o'clock. That's when we'll see them come through Oxford and Corinth. Now, by 2 p.m., really, the heaviest storms exit. But by 3 o'clock, we still see some light rain that's going to stick around through a good chunk of the evening, possibly even into the overnight hours. So if you have dinner time plans, I don't think we're going to be dealing with that heavy rain that we're going to see here about lunchtime, but we could still see some light showers and sprinkles that continue into the evening and possibly even into the overnight hours. So the hour by hour shows us storms through about 2 o'clock and then tapering off, maybe just some light rain after that by 5 p.m. And then tomorrow does look much better. I think we'll see some sunshine by the afternoon, turning a little cooler though. High temperature only about 69 degrees. I do want to remind you while we're continuing our coverage, if you have to be out and about today, you can download the ABC 24 app for your phone. You could just search ABC 24 on the App Store or on Google Play. You can also get us on your TV. That's where a lot of people are watching us right now. We have extended coverage on the ABC 24 Plus app. If you have a Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, you can watch us all the time right there. And it is a totally free download. Getting back over to the radar, we do have some updates for you. It looks like they are going to let the thunderstorm warnings off to the north. They are going to go. It seems like that part of the storm, maybe winds not quite as strong as they were a little bit ago. Still a very hefty thunderstorm now coming into Dyersburg, Blytheville, you're getting it now, Osceola. But it seems like the wind might be getting below severe limits, which is 58 miles an hour. So we could still see gusts in here easily of about 50 miles an hour, but they're just not hitting that threshold of severe thunderstorm warning, which is 58 miles an hour. So they still could be strong, but it does look like at 9:45, they're going to let these 2 severe thunderstorm warnings go, and then we will just have that 1 severe thunderstorm warning that is mainly going to be coming toward the Memphis metro. Now, that is for an area right along 55, north of Turl, north of the Split, where you go off to Jonesboro. Very heavy rain and high wind gusts there. I'm also watching this storm in Crittenden County. That's coming into like Earl and Parkin right now along Highway 64. That's going to be crossing the river as well, and if that continues to pick up, we could see a severe thunderstorm warning issued for that as well. Again, back to the south and west, these storms are not severe, but we could still get 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and, of course, some very heavy rain and some thunder and lightning. Probably a lot of lightning, especially with that cell just to the west of Memphis. There you go right there over Parkin and Earl. A lot of lightning there, and then thunder and lightning as well back toward Forest City. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put on the wind mode of the radar. So this is going to make the radar look a little different, but what we're going to do is kind of X-ray the storm, if you will. That's probably the best way I can put it. And this is going to look at the wind speeds inside of the thunderstorm. So we're looking at winds here. The different colors just tell you what direction it's going. And it's all relative to the radar site, which is in Millington over at the air station. So green is going toward the radar. So all of these winds are blowing easterly toward Millington. Red is going away from Millington. So that's still easterly. Once you flip sides, that red is still going in an easterly direction. So all of these winds mainly going east. What we're going to look for here is if we get red and green really close together, that's where you get that spin. It detects the difference of the wind direction, and that can be some rotation. And we've seen a couple of areas so far this morning where there might have been a little weak rotation. Nothing worth a tornado warning yet, and hopefully we don't get that, but it is something we'll watch out for. Very high wind gusts up here in Mississippi County. We've been watching that. We've had some reports of 50 to 60 mile an hour winds. This new severe thunderstorm warning just north of Turl, where you see those brighter colors just a little bit on the leading edge. That could easily be gusts of 50 or so miles an hour. That's going to cross pretty close to Shelby Forest and eventually into about the Drummonds area toward Atoka in Tipton County. So some high winds coming to you. Not quite as strong once you look at this cell over in Crittenden County, but right along and just north of Interstate 40 over toward Marion, not far from Highway 64, south of Crawfordsville. There's a little blip in there that the winds could be picking up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did get a severe thunderstorm warning here. I mean, you're looking at winds estimated right now at 50. And again, the threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning is 58. So if that gets much higher, we could have that severe thunderstorm warning extended to include Memphis proper. Right now, it just includes Shelby Forest and Millington. And I do want to make a point here, too. The severe thunderstorm warnings, again, are issued when winds hit 58 miles an hour. So everybody's going to see rain, right? This whole line is going to get everybody. If you're in the Mid-South, if you're in these counties, you're going to get this thunderstorm. You're going to get heavy rain. You're going to get gusty wind. You're going to get thunder and lightning. They're trying to pick out the individual cells along that line that are the strongest to put out those thunderstorm warnings. So just because I say, you know, Millington's in the warning, Memphis is not, it's still about to rain buckets in Memphis here in about the next hour and a half. It just doesn't look like the winds are strong enough at this moment to prompt a severe thunderstorm warning for Memphis. Speaking of, I do want to check out the camera here. This is in Midtown. I want to see if I can get logged into this camera so I can move it around just a little bit. You see already a little bit of rain coming in over downtown. And like I said, we're going to get a little bit of rain ahead of time. And then the heaviest rain and the highest wind gusts are going to come in. So the rain we're seeing in Memphis right now is not the main show. That's still to come. I'm going to see if I can zoom this camera out here. We just got a new computer over here, so I'm going to have to re-log into everything. So you'll forgive me while I do that. Probably going to have to go grab my phone for one of those two-factor logins that they like to do. But I do want to get logged in here just so I can get access to this camera and zoom it out, because we'll probably be able to see some pretty cool cloud structure here as we're looking from Midtown. So what you're looking at, this camera is on top of the Southern College of Optometry building. That's over there on Madison Avenue, not far from Interstate 240. And we're going to be able to see that storm kind of rolling in across the river. So let me see if I can get logged in here, and we should be able to get control of this camera to zoom it out. We typically keep it pretty zoomed in so we can get a good view of the skyline, but on days like this, it's actually really helpful to just zoom it all the way out so we can see the full storm structure. While I'm doing that, I will pull up the Facebook comments. We are live streaming on Facebook as well, so if you've got reports or whatever's going on in your neighborhood, you can let me know down in the comments below. Looks like some people just starting to get some of those showers here and some thunderstorms rolling into the Mid-South. Let's see, get into this camera and zoom it out. This should be a pretty good view, again, from Midtown, looking back off to the west. Let's see if I can't get into this camera. Making it difficult for me today. Here we go. So we're going to pull this all the way out, and you'll be able to see some of those darkening clouds off in the distance. Again, we are seeing some showers already. It's a little rainy, a little drizzly in Memphis. But really what we're going to be looking for as we zoom this out is those darkening clouds way off across the river. So you're actually seeing the leading edge of thunderstorms. They're not moving due east, though. They've got a little bit of a northeasterly component. So I know they look to be pretty close, but it's actually going to take them a little bit before they actually get to Memphis. So we'll stay mostly dry for now, but that storm over across the river, over toward Parkin and Earl, that's going to be eventually crossing our direction. Let me put this in motion. I can kind of give you an idea of how this thing is moving. And you'll see it is definitely moving a little bit more to the north and instead of the east. It's not really making much forward progress. And that's where we're going to start to see an issue with maybe a little bit of flooding. When you get, you look at Forest City, they started rain maybe 20 minutes ago, and they're just now in the thick of the heaviest rain. So when the storm is angled in that certain direction where it kind of keeps raining, you get 2 inches in just an hour, and then you have to deal with some flooding on the roadways. I-40, probably a mess right now. If you're trying to get to Little Rock today, maybe hold off until the heaviest rain passes, because once you leave Memphis and go west, you're going to hit that storm just west of West Memphis, and then it is torrential rain all the way through St. Francis County and even back toward Little Rock. That rain is really still continuing. A couple of reports that are coming in here. We have severe thunderstorm warnings. It looks like they trimmed Shelby County out of it just a little bit, but we still have that warning for Crittenden, southern Mississippi, Tipton County. Again, that just seems like a zone where the winds might be a little higher than everywhere else, but everybody along this line is going to have the potential to see those wind gusts of 50, maybe even 55 miles an hour. So this storm in particular back just west of Memphis, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a thunderstorm warning on that. If that starts to pick up a little bit more as it comes into Memphis, we could easily see gusts of 55 miles an hour, and that's enough to, bump around the tree limbs just a little bit, possibly even some isolated power outages. Hopefully that's not a huge concern, but if you get winds strong enough, you can easily see a couple of branches come down onto those power lines here or there. So that's kind of the setup right now. Just one severe thunderstorm warning. That one zone seemed like that was the area that had the strongest wind. Also still watching some rotation in here, the Weather Service is saying, and you'll notice right along that leading edge, see how it gets a little, we would call that like a kink in the line. There's those little waves along the leading edge of that storm front. Again, we're looking at the wind direction here now. So you're getting greens that are going one way, reds are going another. They're not meeting super close right now. There is that one little zone right there in southwestern Tipton County that is a little interesting, but nothing incredibly concerning at this moment. But that is a zone we have to watch, because all it takes is one little extra wind gust, and that can spin up to a little tornado. So we're going to watch that area right now. Everybody going to see high wind gusts as this moves across the river into Tipton County. But again, that one little zone right there, I think that might be what the Weather Service is talking about. Where it's almost swirling up a little bit. It looks almost a little more interesting on that latest scan, where that red is trying to link in with that green, and you've got a little bit of rotation right there. So not a tornado right now, but we are seeing some rotation up in the clouds that If this holds on for another 2 or 3 minutes, I would not be surprised if they put out a tornado warning for that. And again, I'll just give you a heads up. I'm kind of the one-man band today. So if you're watching on the stream or on Facebook, if we get a tornado warning, I have to go on TV. So I have to go behind the scenes and push a couple of buttons and talk to a couple of people. So you'll forgive me if I step away for just a couple of minutes. But if we do get this into a tornado warning, we will hop on to TV. That's a very interesting signature there. And again, that is right there. Got some other people there talking about it. So I know that's a little hard to see, but that's in that little appendage off of southwestern Tipton County, right along the river. So there's the Mississippi River right there. Very interesting signature there as it's coming right into Tipton County and possibly even northern Shelby County. See if we can get a better idea on the exact direction. So that little signature appears to be moving more easterly, and it will probably ride right along the Shelby-Tipton County line. Again, nothing enough to put out a tornado warning right now. They try to not issue these warnings unless they're fairly confident that a tornado is actually going to happen. So just seeing the rotation in the sky is not enough necessarily to put out a tornado warning. There's definitely something spinning in the clouds up there, but the question is that even enough to start to make that funnel and get closer to the ground? If they don't think so, they're not going to put out a warning because they don't want it to be a false alarm. But that's a very interesting signature, not as impressive on the last scan. You see how we've got a little bit of that gray color in the middle? That's just indicating the winds are, all right, tornado warning. So we got to hop on TV here. Again, bear with me. It's going to take us just a second, and we will be right back. Stay tuned. All right, 9:53, I'm Chief Meteorologist Trevor Burchett. We are coming on the air interrupting programming because we have a tornado warning that is about to be issued for portions of the Mid-South. Let's get right over to the wall. This is going to be portions of Tipton County, possibly even a portion of northern Shelby County. That warning not technically out just yet. Here it is now. So this is going to be for Crittenden, Mississippi, Shelby, and Tipton County. That new tornado warning just coming out. This is mainly the northern portion of Shelby County. This will be from Millington, Atoka, along Highway 51, Paul Barrett Parkway over to Arlington. They're included in this as well. And this is all crossing the river at this moment. So if you are in northern Shelby County, southern Tipton County, we have some indication there of some possible rotation that is up in the clouds. Could form a tornado at any minute. We don't have any indication that this thing is on the ground right now. But we get those signatures on the radar that there's some kind of rotation, and that's why the National Weather Service went ahead and put out that warning. So let me give you the latest update here. If you're just joining us on television, we had been previously streaming on ABC 24+. So if you were not with us, want to bring you up to speed. Tornado warning, Crittenden, Mississippi County, Shelby County, and Tipton County. This goes until 10:45, so about another 50 minutes here. And I will tell you what's about to happen. Because this includes a portion of Shelby County, tornado sirens are about to go off for the entire county. Even though this only includes Millington and Arlington, downtown Memphis and the airport, you're about to get tornado sirens going off. So nowhere in the city of Memphis is involved in a tornado warning. If you hear sirens, it's just because they issue for the entire Shelby County area, even if Memphis is not included. So we'll probably get some sirens in Memphis. I'm not hearing them yet over here on I-40 and Sycamore View. But there's that tornado warning. I'll actually flip off the radar here and just give you a better idea of who's in and who's out. Let's see if we can do that here. I want to just flip off that radar altogether and show you that red polygon. So there's your tornado warning, that red box. Again, that's going to be for Millington, Arlington, and extreme southern Tipton County. So that's going to be closer to the Rosemark area along Highway 51. Again, the Paul Barrett Parkway is involved in this between Millington and Arlington. Those are the zones we'll watch for this potential tornado. So if you are in this red box right now, and I'll zoom in just a little bit closer and get a couple of more cities in there, just so you can get kind of a better idea. So that's a really good idea of who's in that red box and who is not. Shelby Forest, Millington, Naval Air Base, Rosemark, Arlington, Atoka, and Drummond's. You are all involved in that tornado warning. Again, that's until 10:45. No confirmation right now that a tornado has actually touched down. Let's hope that does not happen, but the National Weather Service is saying there's enough rotation in the clouds that one could touch down. Now, with a day like this, where we get this line of storms, we're not talking about massive tornadoes. These would be quick little spin-ups that produce some very high winds over a short area and then lift back up. But still, they can do damage if they touch down. So that's why they've gone ahead and issued that tornado warning, and that's going to be northern Shelby, southern Tipton County. We got a couple of other areas that we're watching. That is the only tornado warning. If you're in that area, just go ahead and seek shelter, closet, bathroom, hallway. You don't want to be driving right now. If you're in Millington, Arlington, Atoka, you want to go ahead and seek shelter. Just hang out in an interior room away from windows. But outside of the tornado warning, we also have extremely high wind gusts that are going to be coming in. We'll have a new severe thunderstorm warning, and that's going to go for Memphis and the metro area. They're still drawing that out, so that box has not shown up yet. But a new severe thunderstorm warning coming out for Memphis as well. That's going to be mainly for the threat of high wind gusts. So that is not going to be for a tornado concern for Memphis, but we are going to have the potential of high winds. So that's the latest on the tornado warning. We are going to come back to that. But for those of you who are not in the tornado warning, I do kind of want to just zoom out and show everybody what is going on. That line of storms pretty much right on time. We're tracking it through eastern Arkansas, just crossing the river as of 10 a.m. into northwestern Tennessee as well. Dyersburg, Lauderdale County. We had some high wind gusts up there earlier, but that section of the line from, let's say, Covington north to Dyersburg is not as impressive as it was. Definitely still some heavy rain and gusty wind, but just not nearly as strong as what it was a little bit ago. Once you get past Covington to the south, that's where the line really intensifies with heavier rain, high wind gusts, and of course, as we're seeing right now, a potential of even a quick spin-up tornado. There's our new severe thunderstorm warning. We were just talking about that, including the city of Memphis. Let's get the latest update on that. This also going until 10:45. This for Crittenden County and Shelby County, including Memphis, Bartlett, Cordova, Raleigh, Frazier, downtown. That storm just about to cross the river into downtown Memphis. That section, what's going to come into the city of Memphis, does not have a tornado warning on it. Like I mentioned earlier, part of Shelby County is in a tornado warning. Memphis is not. So you're going to hear sirens possibly in Memphis, but it does seem like if there is a tornado, the threat's going to be mainly in northern Shelby County, right along the Shelby and Tipton County line. So that's the zone we'll watch. Still no confirmation that that thing is on the ground. And again, hopefully it does not touch down. That's a little bit of a misconception. People sometimes think if there is a tornado warning, there is a surefire tornado that's been reported. That's not the case. The Weather Service will issue these if they have enough indication on radar that a tornado could be developing. And we were watching a bit ago, as we switch over to the wind mode, there was something a little squirrely happening in southwestern Tipton County. So I'm going to zoom really far in here. And what we're looking at again is your wind and wind direction. Green is going one way, red is going in another. When you see those close together, that's where we get a little bit of twist. Now, what you're looking at is up in the sky a little bit. This is several hundred feet off the ground. So we could have rotation in the cloud that never makes it to the ground. Let's hope it doesn't, but it is very close with that strong rotation in the clouds, close enough that they did issue that warning. Regardless of if there's a tornado or not, high wind gusts are really going to be an issue. And that can still do damage. It does not take a tornado to cause damage. We can easily have power outages even with just high wind gusts. I want to roll this back a couple of minutes. So we're going back in time now. I'm backing the radar up right there. And this is that little, I don't know what we call this, I guess appendage to Tipton County where the river used to go and now it doesn't anymore. There's that funky boundary in southwest Tipton County, not far from the river. That zone right there, this was at 9:49, so this was about 10 minutes ago. That area is what prompted the warning. You see how those reds and greens were really close together? Not as close right now, but still close enough, definitely too close for comfort. And regardless, like we mentioned, there's going to be high wind gusts in here. That is a guarantee. As we check out just the regular wind mode, that brighter color in there, see if I can get some radar estimates of how high those winds could be. So there's a 57 mile an hour radar estimate of how high the winds are, even if there's not a tornado. So we're talking about potentially damaging wind gusts, and of course, we also cannot rule out a spin-up tornado. If you're just joining us, I know people's phones are ringing, sirens are probably going off at this point. If you're just waking up with us, I know some of you like to sleep in a little bit on your Saturday. I do too, so I'm right there with you. We are tracking a tornado warning, northern Shelby County, southern Tipton County. They did clip a little bit of Crittenden and Mississippi, but hardly enough to even mention, and they're actually going to cut that back. So if you're in Mississippi County, Arkansas, if you're in Crittenden County, Arkansas, that tornado warning is about to be ended for you. This has shifted now into northern Shelby and southern Tipton County. So that's who's in the warning. There's the update. You see they just kind of brought it back across the river. So this is now east of the Mississippi River, potential tornado and some rotation, pretty much riding right along the Tipton and Shelby County line. So Highway 51 between Millington and Atoka, up near Tipton Rosemark, those areas, even Arlington, barely included in this warning, but I think any rotation would probably be north of you. If you are in this warning, and again, this is Millington, Drummond's, Atoka, Tipton Rosemark, up along 14 and north of Arlington, northern portions of Arlington. Go ahead and take your tornado precautions. I would rather you be safe than sorry. I know this is not a big tornado day. If we did get a touchdown, it would be a pretty quick, small tornado. But if that tornado can touch down 30 seconds and produce winds of 100 miles an hour, it's still dangerous. So I would rather you waste 20 minutes of your day listening to me and nothing than for you to not be prepared if one of those quick spin-ups happen. These can almost be a little more dangerous than those big-time tornadoes, because when we get the big tornadoes like last spring, we can give you 45 minutes and say this thing is on the ground, it's staying on the ground, we know it's coming. These can almost catch you off guard. Even though we have a warning, they can touch down so quickly and then lift right back up in 30 seconds that you almost don't know what happened. So I would rather you, like I said, waste 20 minutes of your day, go to your safe place. If nothing else, it's good practice. We're getting into severe weather season anyway. Great time to do a refresher with your family. If you are in that tornado warning, that's going to be your basement or your small center room. A lot of us don't have basements, so you'd be looking for a bathroom, a closet, a hallway. As long as you're in a room without windows, that's where you want to go. Cover yourself with something, pillows, blankets. When I go and talk to elementary schools, I always tell them to grab a pot out of the kitchen as a last resort, or a bicycle helmet. Most injuries from tornadoes happen to your head. So if you can get a spaghetti pot, helmet, anything like that to cover your head, that is a great option. If you're in a higher building, you want to get to the lowest floor possible. I know we have some apartments up in Millington. You want to get to the lowest floor you can, and as a last resort, you can seek shelter in an interior stairwell. Back to the radar now, and just an update on what's going on. Still no indication that this thing's on the ground, which is good. I hope it stays that way. We're also getting really, really close to the radar. The radar is, if you live up in Millington or you work over on the Naval Air Station, it's that soccer ball looking thing that's over there, the huge soccer ball right off the runway. That is our radar from the National Weather Service. We all use the same radar. So this storm is getting really close, and when it's that close to the radar, we sometimes don't get as good of a view of what's going on. I'm actually going to see if I can swap over to, didn't help much either. We have another radar down in DeSoto County. I was hoping that would maybe give a better view, but we're getting some interference in there as well. So again, just for the next couple of minutes, we'll stay with you. This is technically until 10:45. Again, like I said, if these quick little spin-ups don't last long, so hopefully we can get this canceled a little earlier. We can get you back to your regular programming. I don't think anything's on at this point, no harm, no foul if I stay on for a little bit longer on ABC. I know we have hockey coming up later. I will let you see that, but I will stay on for at least a little bit. Make sure we are tracking this tornado warning. Millington, Atoka, Rosemark, Arlington still involved in that. Memphis, we're getting really close to this storm coming in. We were estimating 10:30, 11 o'clock, probably going to be right on time. That leading edge of that storm, where that severe thunderstorm warning is, very high wind gusts. So the tornado concern would be up along Shelby-Tipton County line. For Memphis right now, it's the very high wind. It is just about to cross the river. Frazier within a matter of moments. Shelby Forest, it's already over you. Downtown, West Memphis, all of Memphis and DeSoto County going to get this storm. I mean, everybody's going to see the storm, right? The question is, how strong are the winds? We're getting some pretty high estimates in here. I do want to do a storm track on this and just get an idea how fast this thing is moving and when it might be in your neighborhood. So here's the latest speed. Looks like 25 miles an hour. That pairs up pretty well with what we were thinking. Let's see if we can. I'm just going to track this particular section out through the metro, and this will just be when the heaviest rain is going to start. So this is not going to be, the tornado or the highest wind. This is just when that leading edge of that storm is going to kind of smack you here. So we'll track out this section maybe just for the next hour and a half. That's going to put it in Covington at 10:12, downtown Memphis at 10:24. We're going to have a really stellar view of this thing as it's coming across the river. We'll take that camera here in a second. 10:33 in Bartlett, 10:44 at Walls, 10:47 in Memphis. Now our dot for Memphis is over at the fairgrounds off Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. So if you're in East Memphis, could be a little later than that. If you live downtown, it's obviously going to be sooner. South Haven at about 11 o'clock, Germantown at 11:16, Olive Branch at 11:30, Collierville at 11:39. Everybody sees the heavy rain and high wind gusts. A couple of you could see some very high wind gusts. And then we have that smaller area that is seeing some rotation. So these are kind of our two warnings now. Severe thunderstorm warning for Memphis. That's for the high wind. And then there's that small tornado warning for some potential rotation that's probably now just north of Millington. Again, we're not getting a good view on that because it's so close to the radar side. I mean, it's within 2 or 3 miles of that radar, and we just don't get a good view when it's that close. But there was definitely some rotation up there. We also got a report from the Tipton County 911 and from Tipton County EMA up there that a 911 call came in of rotation spotted in the cloud. So that kind of verifies that something's going on in the cloud. Let's hope it stays there because we don't want it to touch down. But anytime we get that spinning in the cloud, it's possible that we get a tornado to touch down. So that's why they've gone ahead and put out that warning. Let's go over to our Midtown camera because this storm is really coming in here pretty soon. We're getting that kind of mothership appearance of that shelf cloud off in the distance. Things are calm and quiet downtown. Folks on 240 driving right along. Madison Avenue looking good. Again, this is from the Southern College of Optometry. So you're looking back to the west. You can see the downtown skyline over there. And then we're looking kind of across the river at this point. And that is where that storm is coming across. From Memphis, the city, I know we might have sirens going off because we have a tornado warning for part of the county. Memphis City, if you have a Memphis address, you're not in any kind of a tornado warning. No concern for a tornado at this moment. That's up toward Millington. What Memphis is going to get is the very heavy rain and the high wind gusts. We could see wind gusts with this thing 60 miles an hour as it crosses the river and comes into Memphis, and that's just a matter of minutes away. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We'll watch this camera. Should be a very good view to kind of give you an idea of what this storm is going to do. That camera will start bouncing around a little bit, but we'll watch that. But downtown Memphis, I know it's Saturday. It's feeling like spring. Everybody's outside downtown right now. That's probably where I would be if I was not at work, so I do not blame you. But if you're downtown at any of those outside restaurants, be aware you're about to get whacked by this storm. 50-mile-an-hour winds and heavy rain, so you probably do not want to be outside for that. Let me show some love to some other folks up here. I want to get north of Covington, that zone we were talking about. We had some very heavy rain and high wind gusts earlier. This actually was kind of the strongest part of this whole line of storms just a bit ago as it came through, Blytheville and Jonesboro. We had reports toward Jonesboro and Lake City that we had power poles come down because the winds were so strong. Not looking as impressive here now. There's certainly some heavy rain in here. Dyersburg, Lauderdale County, Mississippi County even still seeing some good rain. But we're not expecting any very high wind gusts in here, maybe 30 miles an hour, but nothing that's warranting any kind of a warning at this point. So Dyersburg, the worst is past you. Ripley, you are going to get some heavy rain in the next bit, but again, it seems like it's below severe thunderstorm warning criteria. Brownsville, Crockett County, Alamo, heads up, you're also going to get some of that, but it does seem like that section of the line is not nearly as impressive as it was earlier. So that's good. Let's hope that trend continues. We've been talking a lot about this, that tornado warning, but also if you're in Tipton County, if you're not in the warning, like Covington's not in a warning, but you're about to get heavy rain and high wind as well. I know you just had a little shower, but that main line is just about to get to Covington. We could see wind gusts in there easily 40 to 50 miles an hour. We'll come back to Memphis. That's where things are kind of active right now. DeSoto County down into Mississippi, very quiet at this point. There's a couple of showers down there, but North Mississippi relatively quiet. We are watching those storms back in Arkansas. None of these have warnings on them at this point. So for DeSoto County, Tunica County, what's over in Lee County and Phillips County, again, heavy rain, gusty wind, but nothing that's rising to the level of any kind of a warning at this point. So you do want to be inside for sure. I wouldn't want to be outside in DeSoto County or Shelby County right now. Probably just best to hang out indoors for the next little bit, but we are definitely going to get some heavy rain and gusty wind in there. Going back to the metro area where we're tracking right now, that tornado warning, as we're coming up on about 10:15. Technically, another 30 minutes on this warning, but we'll see if they let it go early. The problem that we're having right now is, again, it's pretty much right on top of our radar. So the Weather Service cannot see what's happening. They don't know if the rotation is strengthening or if it's weakening. So just to kind of be on the safer side, they are letting this warning continue at least until it gets on the flip side of the radar and they can get a better view kind of what's going on up in the clouds. But I do want to go back to that tornado warning. Again, we're not going to get a great view of it because it is literally on top of the radar site, which is at the Naval Support Activity in Millington. So that is pretty much crossing through Millington right now. Definitely heavy rain and high winds, but can't rule out a quick little tornado in there. I could check out the wind, but again, we're just not going to get a good view. It would just kind of look like mush because it's right on top of the radar. Atoka, you're also getting some heavy rain, gusty wind. Drummond, Shelby Forest, all of you dealing with the heavy rain and the gusty wind as well. And then for Memphis, we've got that severe thunderstorm warning, and that is going to go for 10:45 as well. They did trim that up just a little bit. They took out most of the loop inside the city. Again, if you live in Memphis, you are going to get heavy rain and high winds, but it seems like the highest wind gusts are going to be north of I-40. That would be Fraser, Raleigh, Austin P, Covington Pike, and then toward Bartlett, toward our TV station. Let's hope that lights stay on so I can stay with you. Lakeland, Cordova as well. I would not be surprised at all joking aside, if we did get some power outages, because if you get these winds that roll through, they can definitely knock some stuff around, and there's just not much you can do about that when these winds really pick up. Definitely some indications of strong winds in here. I want to go back to that Midtown camera. We should be able to get a pretty decent view of that shelf cloud that's rolling in. In fact, it looks like that shower just kind of taking over downtown at this point. You see showers rolling in over downtown Memphis, and then actually the main line of storms is way back over to our kind of the right side of the camera. You can see that sharp gradient, that cutoff in the line. So we could get a couple of showers early, but then it's going to be about another 5 or 6 minutes before we get walloped by that main line of thunderstorms. I am going to check out the Facebook comments. Again, forgive me for being on my phone. I know that's rude, especially being on television. I don't want you to think I'm just in my phone, but sometimes we do get some reports in our Facebook comments of what's going on. If you're watching on Facebook, we'd love reports as well. You know, the radar can only show us so much. So if you can give us any reports or indications of what is going on in your neighborhood, it's actually incredibly helpful. So if something crazy is happening, of course, we don't want you to put your life at risk, but if you hear maybe some hail or very high wind, we would really appreciate those reports coming into the Facebook chat as well. So I'll keep an eye on that, and if you have any, again, be sure to just post them there below. But I want to stay on this camera for a little bit because what we're going to watch is literally the thunderstorm hit Memphis. And you're going to see the downtown skyline kind of disappear in the rain. Very, very wild to see that shelf cloud is what we call it. And that's just formed by the difference in the wind rising and falling. Ahead of the storm, you've got that rising motion. And then once the storm gets in, you get the sinking of the air, the downdraft of the thunderstorm. And where those two air masses are meeting, you get that sharp cutoff in the clouds. That's also where your highest wind gusts are typically. They hit right on the leading edge of that storm. So once that shelf cloud passes over, that is where you are likely to see probably some of the strongest wind gusts. I'm going to see if I can keep this camera up and just switch over and to the radar and kind of keep both on the screen at the same time. We will see if I can do that. There we go. So I know you're getting kind of double vision right now. It's because I have it up on my weather computer as well. But I want to keep an eye on that camera, but I also do want to go back to the radar. We can kind of tag team this here. Keep an eye on that camera as it rolls through, and then we can also get an update on what is going on the radar. So if you are just joining us, we are getting a report now of some rotation and a lowering near Atoka Elementary School. That would be possibly a funnel cloud that we've been talking about. Again, no reports that anything has touched down up here, but we saw that rotation on the radar. We're also getting reports coming in from folks on the ground that, yeah, something is going on up in the clouds. Let's hope it stays in the clouds. I'd much rather it stay there, but anything could happen. And again, if you're just joining us, we're not getting a great view of this storm because it's right on top of our radar. And when it's that close, we just don't really get that fantastic of a view. But a tornado warning does continue now for Millington. Drummond's, I would say, I think the tornado threat has passed you. I know you're still in the very heavy rain, but if there is a tornado, it's going to be past Drummond's at this point. It would be probably just over Highway 51, not far from Rosemark and Atoka. So go ahead and be in your safe place. I would imagine that little bump in the storm, I know, again, it's right over the radar, so things look kind of fuzzy right there, but right over Millington, not far from it, probably between Millington, Atoka, and Rosemark, that's where we have that most defined signature of some rotation and a potential for maybe a quick tornado to touch down. This would not be a major, huge tornado, but these lines of storms can very easily produce quick tornadoes that last 20, 30 seconds, just enough to tear some stuff up and then go back in the clouds. So if you are in this zone, tornado safe places, Rosemark, Atoka, northern side of Arlington, mainly right along the Tipton and Shelby County line, that is going to be the highest potential of some rotation. Now, closer to Memphis, we don't have a warning for the city unless you're north of I-40. Fraser, Raleigh, you are in a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, but there are some high wind gusts in there. And then to me, probably some of the strongest wind is just about to cross the river. President's Island, downtown, West Memphis, those zones probably getting some very high wind, and that is coming into Memphis right now. So we'll check back in. We'll take that camera full screen in just a moment, but I want to investigate some of the wind in here. And again, we're just not getting fantastic views because it is so close to the radar. I know I've been saying that, but you can kind of see what I mean, that it's kind of pixelated and fuzzy, and it's just not a great looking view. But what I would be looking for is an area of green and red very close together. and that is an indication that there might be some rotation. Regardless, though, very high wind. As the storm kind of has passed over the radar now, we're getting a better view on the flip side of it. So that's going to be east side of Millington. That's going to be east of the base, coming into Rosemark, about to cross Highway 14, north of the Paul Barrett Parkway. If there's not a tornado, there is definitely some very, very high wind gusts in there, and something we will definitely keep an eye on because, again, you can get damage even if there is not a tornado. But that's the zone we would watch for. If something's going to touch down, that's where it's going to be, just east of Millington along Highway 14 near Rosemark. So go ahead. Again, if you waste 20 minutes of your day and you can say you were safe and nothing happened, I'd rather you do that than one of those quick little tornadoes to touch down and catch you off guard. Bathroom, closet, hallway, anything that can get you away from windows and in kind of the center of your house, that's going to be the best bet to kind of protect yourself from those potential high wind gusts and maybe even a spin-up tornado. As far as Memphis goes, we've seen some light shower activity, but again, the highest wind, heaviest rain is going to be still crossing the river. So downtown within the next 4 to 5 minutes, you'll get the worst of that storm, and then it will continue to march through Memphis from there. I want to track all of this one more time. Actually, I want to see, before we do that, I want to take this camera full because it seems like we're starting to get on some of the highest wind gusts now in downtown as we were watching that camera here. So we'll take that one full screen. And again, this is our Midtown camera. You're looking back toward downtown from the Southern College of Optometry. So you're looking, toward the skyline and across the river into Arkansas, and that's where that storm is. And we've been seeing at least the first couple of indications of that camera bouncing around just a little bit as the winds are coming in. And it's going to be interesting to see. Radar has been estimating wind gusts as high as 50 to 60 miles an hour. So we're going to kind of keep an eye on this to see if it looks like that's panning out. We've gotten several reports of damage as far as power lines coming down, a little bit of tree limbs being knocked around. So it will be interesting to kind of see if we see the same wind coming into Memphis. I would just say if you're in the city, if you're in the metro, Shelby County, DeSoto County, you want to just stay put for at least the next hour, because even if we don't have extreme winds or a tornado, you're going to get the potential of some flooding in here. And you know how the Memphis streets flood. You see now kind of downtown just going away. We were seeing the skyline just a few seconds ago. That has now gone away. So now we're getting kind of that wall of water, that leading edge of that thunderstorm we were talking about is now coming through. I'm still keeping an eye on the radar over here with that tornado warning, and we'll go back to that if needed. But I do want to watch this kind of as the worst of it comes into Memphis. Again, this is a live look from the roof of the Southern College of Optometry. Rain starting to come down there a little bit heavier at this point. And we'll just kind of watch this, at least for the next little bit, to see what is going on. While we're doing that, I'll pass along some other information and reports to you. We did have, again, that report of some rotation and some kind of a lowering in the clouds. That was seen from the Atoka Elementary School, and that was looking mainly down to the south, so probably more so northern Shelby County would have been where that rotation was. From Memphis, we're not in a tornado warning. We are in a severe thunderstorm warning for some very high wind gusts. Now, some bad news coming in here. We have lost the radar sites. We have lost power at the radar, and the generator has not come on yet. So the Weather Service is going to be working on that. But for at least this second, we're not going to have any updates from the radar that we were just talking about. Remember, I just told you it was literally on top of the radar, the heaviest rain and the highest wind. So it does look like Millington, at least part of the city, maybe the base, has lost power. And again, the generator has not kicked on yet. Let's hope it does, because if not, we will not have any radar data for the next little bit. We are watching here, just kind of keeping an eye on this camera from Midtown. We're seeing the rain really pick it up. We should get some wind here in the next little bit. We'll go back over to the radar. And again, it's not going to update for at least right now. This is going to be a stale radar scan. I don't think this radar update has not come in since 10/12. So this radar that we're looking at here is 10 minutes old, because the radar site lost power and the generator didn't come on. That's the government radar that belongs to the National Weather Service, so we can't do anything about that. but we just use the data. We do have a backup radar, though. It's a little more interesting to look at. It's not as clean of a view. Notice, again, it's kind of missing half a scan here. But that's the radar that's down in Nesbitt on Highway 50, Interstate 55 and Highway 51, right behind the driver's license center. So that's the radar we're looking at here. And again, we're not getting the best scan from it, but I think it will give us maybe a better indication of where that is. We can also see up toward Millington. It's giving us a good view of that hook. That little J hook almost, backwards J, that's very interesting. That would be indicative of maybe some rotation. And again, what we're looking at here is our backup radar, so it's not going to be as good. It's going to go in and out. But right over Rosemark, there's that little appendage looking thing there. That's very common with storms that are rotating and potentially producing tornadoes. So if you are near Rosemark, be in that safe place. That's along Highway 14. Northern Arlington, I think downtown Arlington, I guess we could say, like down by the Kroger. You're probably going to be south of the possible tornado. But if you're near Rosemark, up along 14, right along that Tipton and Shelby County line, this could also be expanded. Just to give you a heads up who's next if this tornado warning does continue. That would be more like Galloway, Mason, southeastern Tipton County, into Haywood County, and then maybe even northern Fayette County. So that warning has not been extended yet. But again, possible tornado near Rosemark at this point. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get the big radar back on and get a better view. We're starting to get some rain as well here at the TV station. I want to go over to the velocity. And again, it's just, you'll have to forgive me because this is not nearly as good of a view as what we were looking at. But you can definitely see there's some red and green activity over Rosemark. If there is a tornado, hopefully there's not, but if there is, it's going to be near Rosemark in northern Shelby County, kind of riding right along the Tipton and Shelby County line. So just to remind you, if you're in that tornado warning, what your safe places are. The biggest thing is to get away from windows. Go to the basement or the smallest center room. Rosemark, if you're near Rosemark, this is a good thing to do for right now. Small center room, basement, hallway, closet, bathroom, something without windows. You want to get into a room without windows, something on the inside of your home, and cover yourself with pillows, blankets. If you are in an apartment building, go to the lowest floor possible. You don't want to be on any kind of an upper floor, period, in a tornado. You want to get as low as you can. So if that means going to the leasing office, the fitness center, whatever you can to get away from those upper floors, that's what you need to do. And again, that's the area that we're tracking. There's that tornado warning. And again, not the best view from this backup radar, but it can at least give us an idea of where the storm is. Near Rosemark right now, Millington still in the very heavy rain and the high wind gusts. And again, that's going to kind of ride just north of the Paul Barrett Parkway, possibly eventually into Fayette County, Tipton County, and Haywood County. We'll zoom back out here and see what's going on across the metro. As again, we're on our backup radar here. The full radar in Millington lost power, and we have not gone to generator yet. So they're sending somebody up there. The office for the weather service is at the Agri Center, and they got to make it to Millington. So we might be waiting here a little bit to get our full radar back. But we can at least use this one. This is the backup radar in DeSoto County, and it can kind of show us that progress of these storms. Walls, Horseshoe Lake in the next little bit, Horn Lake as well, Westwood, Whitehaven, Airport, South Memphis. That storm's marching toward you, eventually inside the 240 loop. Downtown, also getting some heavy rain and high wind. Not a tornado concern for Memphis or DeSoto County. That one little area that we're watching is the one that has the potential tornado. Again, that's near Rosemark in far northern Shelby County. So if you are in the city of Memphis, yes, you're going to have high winds. Yes, you're going to have heavy rain, but you're not in a concern for a tornado at this moment. That's going to be up in far northern Shelby County, and we'll see if they decide to expand that tornado warning. We'll get in here and get kind of a closer look at where this storm is now. And again, this is what's coming into Shelby County, into DeSoto County, into Memphis. Heavy rain, high wind gusts right over President's Island right now. Downtown, the heaviest probably within the next 5 or 6 minutes. North Memphis and Hollywood already getting it. And again, we're on the backup radar, so it's not as good. It kind of goes in and out just a little bit. Let me see while we're standing here, though. I might be able to activate some of the other radars nearby. So that's the old update. That's the last update we got from the Millington radar. I'm going to turn it off. And turn on maybe a couple of others to get us maybe a better view of what's happening. And again, you'll bear with me here. I know technical difficulties, not much you can do when the radar loses power, but I'm going to try to turn just a couple on to get maybe some kind of an idea of where the line of storms is. And this would at least allow us to track it out. So there's that whole line of storms passing through. We're using the Paducah and the Little Rock radars at this point. So again, heavy storms now in northwest Tennessee, Dyersburg, Lauderdale County, Haywood County about to get it, as is Crockett County. No warnings up there, though. That's just heavy rain and some gusty wind. There's no kind of warning in effect for those thunderstorms. No warnings in Arkansas either. As a matter of fact, the worst of the weather has kind of passed up eastern Arkansas at this point. Poinsett County and Jonesboro, we had some very heavy rain and high wind there earlier, even to the point that we had some power poles come down not far from Jonesboro. That has passed. Still raining back there, but again, the worst of the storm really only going to last 30, 40, maybe an hour, and then it'll just be more of a steady rain off and on for the rest of the day. So that's where this line is now. I am going to time it out before we zoom back in and see if we can get somebody out to that radar site to get it reset. All of this moving at about 25 or 30 miles an hour off to the east. So as we track this out over the next 2 or 3 hours, South Haven very soon, in about the next 15 minutes, you're going to get the heavy rain, the high wind. Collierville at about 11:14, Jackson, Tennessee at 11:32, Senatobia at 11:43, Bolivar closer to noon, Batesville at about 12:30, Holly Springs about the same time, Middleton at 12:52, and then Oxford by about 1 o'clock. I think by 2 o'clock this is over for the Mid-South, at least the heaviest rain, the highest wind. There will still be showers for the rest of the day, off and on, but these heavy thunderstorms, the threat of severe weather is going to end by 2 o'clock. And that's why we have that severe thunderstorm watch. It's in effect for all of the Mid-South. We're going to start to see that trimmed back a little bit, though. They're going to start to cancel some counties, but everybody is under a severe thunderstorm watch until at least 2 p.m. Hopefully, that's going to clear out just a little earlier. Still no update from the Millington radar, so I'm going to go back to our other radar site, the backup one, just so we can get some kind of a view of what's going on, because we also have a new severe thunderstorm warning that is going to be coming in for Shelby County. So right now we've got a severe thunderstorm warning up for Bartlett. That's going to be off of like Summer Avenue, Sycamore View. Just not having good luck with this backup radar either. See if we can back it up one more. So that's the progress of the line of storms right now. South Memphis, downtown really getting it at this point. Midtown going to be next. East Memphis going to be next. And then eventually marching into Cordova, Germantown, Collierville, the airport area, within maybe the next 15 or 20 minutes. I do have some good news. They're going to drop the tornado warning. It seems like indications of rotation have gone away. We had several reports, though. People were calling 911, calling dispatch, saying there was some sort of rotation, maybe a lowering in the clouds. That was reported from Atoka Elementary, and then also back to the west side of Atoka. We had 2 reports of rotation, maybe a funnel cloud. Does not appear that that has touched down, thankfully, but they put out the tornado warning just in case, because we were getting those reports. So that's going to be dropped. And we're going to get a severe thunderstorm warning in its place. Now, for the rest of the afternoon, at least for the rest of the morning into the early afternoon, the biggest concern is the wind. We were telling you that yesterday. We've told you that for the last few days. But in these lines of storms, we can't completely rule out a quick little spin-up tornado. As a matter of fact, they've done something interesting with this new warning. You saw that big box pop up behind me. That is our new severe thunderstorm warning. So they've issued this warning for basically the rest of Shelby County, northern DeSoto County, Marshall County, and Fayette County. And that is a severe thunderstorm warning that is going to go until, let's see here, get the update on that, probably, until 11:15. So this severe thunderstorm warning for the Memphis Metro until 11:15. For the high wind gust, 50 to 60 miles an hour, could result in some power outages. We'll check the outage map here in just a bit. Notice, though, what they've done. they've put in this message of tornado possible. So what that means is, obviously, we just had a tornado warning. They're going to drop that and just put out a severe thunderstorm warning for high wind gusts. So the high wind gusts now are the bigger concern, but what they're saying is we can't completely rule out a quick little tornado spinning up, and we might need to go back to a tornado warning. So no tornado warning, they're going to drop that one, but they are putting out that message that a tornado is possible. So with just a severe thunderstorm warning here, we will stick around for at least a little bit. What I'm going to do, though, is see what time our shows come on. So 11 o'clock hockey starts. So I will get off before that. How about that? But we will continue our coverage on ABC 24+. I just don't want to stay on the air over programming if we don't have a tornado warning, if we don't have a life-threatening situation. So we'll stay on for at least the next 30 minutes or so, and then at 11 o'clock, we'll hand it back over to ABC to start NHL hockey. So until then, we'll just stay on right here where we are. So that new severe thunderstorm warning, Memphis, Shelby County, DeSoto County, Marshall County, Fayette County until 11:15. The worst of it now really coming on into Memphis. Let's go back over to that camera here. That was the Midtown camera we were watching just a little bit ago, and things are really ramping up there as the heaviest rain, the highest wind gusts are coming on down. Again, we've had gusts reported in other parts of the Mid-South up to 50 or 60 miles an hour. We'll have to see what the update is coming in from Memphis once this storm really gets pushing through the Mid-South. I am also going to pull up while we're over here our power outages, because it's going to be interesting to see, especially here in Memphis, what the power outages look like, because it does not take much, especially if we're getting gusts up to 50 or 60 miles an hour to knock a couple of branches around. Just getting an eye on that off screen. No outages yet in Shelby County, at least not that have come in. We did have a couple of hundred outages over in eastern Arkansas. Nothing too serious. Most folks still have power, but it does go to show these storms are strong enough that they could blow some stuff around. So that is the view right now in Midtown from Southern College of Optometry. Downtown, you would normally be able to see it. You cannot at this moment. We'll check out some other cameras too. Cordova, we'll see what's going on out there. Still pretty dry at this point. This is at Hope Church on Walnut Grove, but you can see the darkening skies starting to move in. And then Cordova, it's going to be in your neighborhood here soon enough. East Memphis, probably also a similar story. Just starting to see a little bit of light rain over at the Eastgate Shopping Center and Clark Tower. But what's happening downtown is going to be happening everywhere over the next few minutes. So we're going to watch that. If you haven't gotten it yet, it will be coming. All right, 10:36 a.m. I want to do a big reset here. You are watching ABC 24 WATN and CW30 WLMT. We are in extended severe weather coverage at this point because we have a tornado warning that had been issued for northern Shelby County, southern Tipton County. That was including Millington, Atoka, Rosemark, even Arlington. We had some reports of rotation in the clouds. We had that report come in from Atoka, actually two reports come in from Atoka of possibly some sort of rotation. No indication or any report that anything touched down, but they did put out that warning just as a precaution. They are now going to let that go. So that warning is going to go away at 10:45, but they've replaced it with a severe thunderstorm warning. That's that new yellow box. So that's a warning for the wind. So Memphis, Shelby County, DeSoto County, Marshall County, and Fayette County, all in a severe thunderstorm warning until 11:45, or I think it's 11:15 actually. We'll see. Let me get that number right for you. I think it was, 11:15 for the metro. There's no other warnings other than that. We had been tracking some really heavy rain in northeast Arkansas earlier today, and that's where we had some very high winds up in Poinsett and Mississippi County. That section of the line seems like it's toned down just a little bit here. Still very heavy rain as we look up toward Covington, Ripley, just passing you now into Brownsville and Crockett County within the next little bit. Dyer County, the worst is past you. Northeast Arkansas, like Blytheville, Harrisburg, Marked Tree, the worst is past you as well. But still some heavy rain, gusty wind up there, just not bad enough to warrant a severe thunderstorm warning. The threshold for that is 58 miles an hour. So if they think the winds are going to be 58 or higher, they'll put out that yellow severe thunderstorm warning box. It just doesn't look like the winds are high enough in northwest Tennessee to warrant that. Now, it is still coming down buckets. It's still gusty up there, just not gusty enough that they need a warning. So Ripley, Tennessee, just passing you. Covington, same thing. Brownsville, you're next in line within the next 10 or 15 minutes. You'll be getting some of that. And then we get down to Shelby County, and that's where it looks like maybe we are getting some reports of higher wind. Now, I know the radar looks a mess at this point. It doesn't look the way that it normally does, and that's because we have lost the radar site in Millington. The National Weather Service radar is up in Millington at the Naval Air Base, and it lost power, and then the generator did not come on. So we have no updated radar data from Millington. So what we're going to have to do here is take in radar from Little Rock, from Paducah, from Nashville, and kind of mush it all together to get some kind of a view. So I know it's not pretty. There's a lot of crazy looking lines in here. That's just because we're combining the radar sites to get a good view of where the storm is. Heaviest, though, coming right into the city, right in the 240 loop there, Midtown, East Memphis within the next 5 or 10 minutes as well. High wind still the biggest concern for me here in Shelby County. Could be up to 60 miles an hour here in a couple of isolated spots. Most of us probably more on the order of 30 to 40, along with some heavy rain and some thunder and lightning. Rain could be heavy enough, by the way, in Shelby County if it lasts long enough to get some isolated flooding on the roadways. We had a report from Millington of 1 inch per hour rainfall. So if it rains for 2 hours, you're going to have 2 inches of rain. That's going to lead to some flooding on the roadways. So if you have to be out and about for the next little bit in Memphis, just be aware things could be a little flooded. If you do see a flooded roadway, again, remember to turn around, don't drown. Moving down to the south now, another area that is strong but not severe at this moment. We have very heavy rain right along the Mississippi River, Tunica toward the casinos, Robinsonville, Walls, Horseshoe Lake, Horn Lake, and then back to Helena, West Helena. We don't have any kind of a warning down here, but kind of like what we're seeing in northwest Tennessee, we could still see wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles an hour. It's just not going to be quite as strong as what we're seeing in Shelby County. Still could knock around some limbs, though. So if you're in Tunica, Helena, West Helena, heads up, heavy rain coming into you, but nothing right now that has a warning for it. Everywhere else kind of quiet at this point. We'll zoom back out and I'll show you the big scene here. And again, the radar looking a little funky because we're having to combine multiple radar sites. So right along the river, that's kind of where the storms are now. Tennessee starting to cross the river. I want to put a big storm track on this before we let you go because, like I said, at 11 a.m., I know hockey starts on ABC. We will let you go to that. I know hockey's the big thing right now, so we will not let you miss a minute of that because they've canceled the tornado warning. Now, if a tornado warning comes back up, we have to cut in. We can do boxes or something. We'll figure it out. But what I'm going to do at 11 is get off of TV. We'll continue streaming on our ABC 24 Plus app. That's a great time to actually tell you. You can download that for your TV right now. Take that QR code, pull out your phone, open your camera, scan that QR code, and that will take you to download our app. You can either download it on your cell phone or for your TV. If you have a smart TV like a Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Samsung, you do not need a cable subscription. You can download this 100% for free and you can watch our extended coverage there. The cool thing about that is I can talk 24 hours if I want to. There's no programming I'm covering up. We can let people on TV watch what they want to watch and I can yap all day on here. So scan that code and then once we sign off TV at 11 a.m., we will continue our coverage on the ABC 24 Plus app right there for your smart TV. Again, if a life-threatening situation pops back up, of course we'll come back on TV, but I don't get paid for interrupting your programming. So as long as it's safe to do so, I will let you watch what you want to watch because I know nobody wants their hockey interrupted. There's the latest update now. Tornado warning's been canceled. That's going to drop off at 10:45. So at that point, we will not have a tornado warning anymore. In fact, the only thing we will have is that severe thunderstorm warning. I will tell you this, Hub, if you're listening to me, I'm not sure if you are, but if you are, we can go ahead and send back WLMT to regular programming. We'll stay on WATN, but we will let WLMT go. Again, I don't know if you can hear me. I cannot hear you because I'm not back in the control room. But if you are able to hear us, WLMT CW30, we can send back to regular programming. If you do want to continue our coverage, you can watch us over on ABC Channel 24. So continuing our coverage now on ABC 24, at least for the next 15 minutes. I'll stay with you for a little bit because we have that severe thunderstorm warning. Very heavy rain into Memphis. Seems like actually the heaviest we've seen so far. And that is going to be in Midtown. Look at that. No view of the skyline. We had been watching kind of that rain come across the skyline just a little bit ago. Thank you, Hub, by the way. I see you sent us back. I appreciate that. Working with a one-man band today, so I'm kind of calling the shots all from in here. But again, Midtown, you definitely see that torrential rain coming down. Probably some good wind gusts in here. This camera will usually bounce around a little bit if it doesn't, if it gets up to a certain level, 50, 60 miles an hour. We're not seeing that at this point, so that might be a good sign that winds are 30 to 40 miles an hour instead of 50 to 60. But I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a couple of good gusts come through at times that could raise to the level of severe limits, which again is about 58 miles an hour. That's what we consider a severe thunderstorm warning. Couple of zones in here that we are seeing the potential for some higher wind gusts as we go back to the radar. Again, the Millington radar site is out. So we're kind of having to merge some radars together. We'll actually go over here to the Nesbitt radar, the backup radar that we were talking about. Tornado warning, by the way, officially gone. We are seeing, though, some very, very high wind gusts into DeSoto County, right over Horn Lake, seeing some very high wind right in there. That's back also near Days, West Days, toward Walls. Wind gusts maybe a little higher there even than they are in Shelby County. I know this is not the prettiest view in the world, but where you're seeing some of those brighter colors showing up, that's where we're getting an indication of some higher winds. We also actually have two storms that are kind of merging together in this area. So if we go over to the radar site and we scroll back just a little bit, we have a couple of storms right there. You see that one little storm? This was about 10 minutes ago. That one storm over Days, and then we had this storm coming in from the west. What can happen is when you have one storm going this way and the main storm coming this way, when they merge together, it can instinctively create a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, a little bit of rotation in there. So that is something we have to watch. That is a zone that can typically see maybe a little rotation or even some high wind gusts. And then watch as I play it through, you see that one cell kind of get merged into the other one. So regardless of if there's a rotation or not, very high winds coming into South Haven right now, right across 55. That's going to be near, Elmore Road, Greenbrook in the next, I would say, 30 seconds or so. We could really get some heavy wind and heavy rain as well. And then again, we'll have to watch as those cells kind of came together. That can sometimes do some interesting stuff. But DeSoto County now kind of getting the brunt of that storm. Severe thunderstorm warning for you for the threat of high wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles an hour. That does include Olive Branch as well. So the potential in here for some power outages if that wind really gets rocking. But again, South Haven, Horn Lake, Snowden Grove, within the next couple of minutes, you're going to be getting kind of the heaviest wind from this thunderstorm. Also still rolling through Memphis, that storm coming on in. Let me back that radar up just a little bit. So Parkway Village airport area now seems like that's where the heaviest rain, the highest wind gusts are. Cordova out toward Wolf Chase Mall. Very heavy rain, high wind gusts there as well. Waiting on the report from the airport that just passed over the airport a minute ago. So we should get some sort of a wind reading from the Memphis airport within the next couple of minutes. Let me see if I can actually get that pulled up here. I can get you an idea of just an estimate of what the winds are. So we gusted to 35 at the airport. Could be a little higher than that in the next couple of minutes, but that's the current wind gust at Memphis International Airport. Is 35 miles an hour as that storm was just hitting. So we'll see if we get any other reports of severe wind. Again, severe thunderstorm warning is in effect because the radar was estimating winds of 58 miles an hour, which is considered severe and damaging. So we'll watch that. If that trend continues where we're only getting 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts, they'll probably let this severe thunderstorm warning go early. We can hope. But if we can only see 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts, that would certainly be some good news. We'll put that into motion and kind of show you how the rain is tracking across the Mid-South. I know it's dry in much of West Tennessee at this point. North Mississippi also mainly dry if you're down in Oxford, Holly Springs, and Corinth. But that line is marching through. Notice, though, there's still rain behind this. So what's going to happen is you're going to get rain heavy for 30 to 45 minutes. That's where you'll get your high wind. And then once that passes, you're going to be stuck with just some light off and on showers. It's not going to be a torrential downpour all day. The worst of it might last 30 to 40 minutes. Once that passes, you'll be clear of the severe weather threat. You'll just be seeing some light off and on rain. What we're going to watch, though, see how the heavy rain back here is kind of piling up back to Little Rock? That's going to set up kind of a zone where there could be very, very heavy rain over the same areas for several hours, because what's going to happen is it's just going to kind of keep pumping that rain in almost like a fire hose. So potential there for some flooding as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some flooding in Memphis as well. If we get a couple of inches of rain just in 1 or 2 hours, we could easily see the drainage system kind of get overwhelmed and overworked, and then we get a little bit of extra flooding on those roadways. So if you're going to be out, just take it easy. Definitely could be a little slick out there, and some ponding not out of the question on the roadways. I'm going to track all of this out as you kind of plan the rest of your day. Get latest speed on this line of storms. It's not making much forward progress. It's moving east anywhere from 30 to 40 miles an hour, but it also has a little bit of that northerly component to it. So it's just moving pretty slow in a forward direction. I do still think this is pretty clear by 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock, at least the worst of the storms. But we'll still have some off and on rain to deal with after that. We'll time this out, and then I will show you the latest hour-by-hour radar as well, just kind of get an idea. We'll time this out over our entire area. This is just estimated based on the way the storm is moving right now, when the heavy rain is going to be in you. Brownsville, pretty much right now. Clarksdale at about 11:22, and Clarksdale is one of those zones that they could get caught in that area where it just keeps raining very heavily, so we could have some flooding down there. Also keep in mind, we're technically in a drought at this point. I know that might be hard to believe, but it's been pretty dry over the last several months. So the ground is a little dry in some spots, and that can lead to runoff. You know, the ground can't take it in. The water just kind of runs off onto the roadway, and so that can lead to some flooding as well, and it can also lead the creeks and streams to rise. So there's the latest storm track. Again, Clarksdale at 11:22, Senatobia at 11:36, Bolivar at 12:04, Holly Springs at 12:24, Oxford at 12:51, maybe a little closer to 1 o'clock. So Oxford, you've got a little bit of time before the heaviest of the rain gets there. Selmer about 1:03. Ripley, Mississippi at 11:27, and then Corinth, or 1:27, I should say. Ripley, Mississippi is 1:27. Corinth at 1:38. So that's when that's going to be pushing through. Again, this all should be out of here for the most part by 2 o'clock. We do have that severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect for Memphis and all of the Mid-South until 2 o'clock. But I do think that'll start to be trimmed back. Once the heavy rain hits you and it passes, your severe weather threat is over. If you don't get high wind in that first little batch of heavy rain, you're not going to get it. So once that main line passes, your threat will be over, and then they'll start to cancel some of this severe thunderstorm watch as we go forward. Still do have a weather impact alert now through, I called it 4 o'clock just to be safe, but I think the worst of the weather ends by 2 with the heavy rain, the high wind gusts. And again, secure your loose objects and make some indoor plans if you haven't already. You found out why you needed to do so. Definitely coming down pretty quick out there. So here's the latest model run. This is just coming in a little bit ago. It's showing us about right now 11 a.m. I think it's got a really good handle of where this storm is at this moment. So this is what the model thought was going to happen at 11 a.m. It's done a pretty good job keeping that storm right into Memphis around the same time. So here's 1 o'clock. Worst of it's past Memphis. Still some rain, though. So we'll be done with the strong storm, but it's still going to be raining this afternoon in Memphis. By Clarksdale, Oxford by about 1:30. That pairs up with our storm track. Bolivar by about 1 o'clock as well. And then probably closer to Corinth and Oxford, maybe by 1:45. By 2 o'clock, though, that main line of storms is out of here. It is done. Severe weather threat will end by 2 o'clock, but we'll still have some spotty showers for the rest of the day. There's 3 p.m. It's still raining, but it's just mainly light rain. The wind will be done at that point. Just some spotty showers. That starts to break up by dinner time. So if you have dinner time plans, 5 or 6 p.m., you might be mostly dry, but there could be some showers here or there, and then mainly just sprinkles after sunset. 8 p.m. is mostly dry, a raindrop or 2 here or there, and then overnight, just a slight chance of a shower or 2. So thunderstorms continue again through about 2 o'clock, showers after that, and then once we get into this evening, we'll start to clear on out of here. Tomorrow looks much better. If you cannot get outside today, tomorrow's a great day to do it. 69, clouds in the morning, turning sunny by the afternoon and looking much better for the second half of the weekend. I'll go ahead and show you that 7-day forecast while we're here just to give you an idea. Again, weather impact alert today for storms. Sunday looks great. Sunshine in the afternoon, high of about 69. I'll look out for some spotty storms Monday. I don't think it's going to happen everywhere like it is today, but there could be a storm or two Monday, high of 76, mostly dry Tuesday. And then what we're seeing today, I think we could see another thing similar to it Wednesday, where we get this big line of storms, gusty wind, heavy rain. After that, though, we clear out. Sunshine comes back Thursday, high of 57. First day in a while, we have been below average. And then sunshine and 68 for Friday, looking much better by the end of the week as we start to get out of this stormy weather pattern. All right, we're getting ready to sign off of TV. They've actually canceled the severe thunderstorm warning completely now, so we don't have any active warnings in effect. That severe thunderstorm warning was canceled. I was telling you this earlier. They issue those for winds of 58 miles an hour. The Memphis airport only recorded a gust of 40. So while that is high, it's not severe. It's not worth a warning. So they've canceled the warning that was in effect, the severe thunderstorm warning. So as this line marches through, yes, it is still producing very high winds, gusty winds at least, and some heavy rain and some thunder and lightning. Flooding also becoming a concern. So if you are going to be out and about later today, just be aware you're probably going to be dealing with some heavy rain and some flooding. I will remind you before we go off of TV, you can continue our coverage with us on the ABC 24 Plus app. You can either do that on your phone or on your smart TV. So wherever you're watching, regardless of if you have cable or not, scan that QR code right there on your screen, and that will take you to download our app. You can either download that for your phone and watch our coverage there. But if you've got a smart TV, a Roku, a Fire TV, Apple TV, or Samsung, you can download it right there. And we will continue our coverage there. We're going to hop off of ABC because hockey's just about to come on and we don't have any warnings. We're going to continue tracking the storms over on our app. So if you want to watch that coverage, again, scan that code on your screen. That'll take you over there, and we will continue tracking these storms together. But for right now, we do not have any warnings in effect. It's just some heavy rain and gusty wind. Of course, if that changes and it gets serious, we will hop right back on. But for now, we'll let you go back to regular programming. We'll continue our coverage right now on ABC 24 Plus.